We nominated an amazing group of MAGA patriots to fight for us in November, including the future U.S. Senator. You know who that is? J.D. Vance. Where the hell is J.D.? Where's J.D.? What a guy. He's riding high right now. J.D., we love you. You are riding high. Every single candidate that I endorsed won their primaries on Tuesday. They went 22-0, and in Texas a couple of weeks before, we won 33-0. So we have a total record of 55-0.
Welcome back. That was President Trump at his rally in Greensburg, Pennsylvania, celebrating 55-0 in last week's primary elections. All of the president's picks so far now set to compete in the November midterm elections. My next guest has been at his father's side as President Trump considers endorsements in one of the most closely watched primary seasons. Donald Trump Jr. is the founder of the new app MXM News, and he joins us right now. Great to see you, Don. Thanks very much for being here this morning. You know, President Trump has been backing a lot of D.C. outsiders, first-timers as well. You've got J.D. Vance, memoirist. You've got Herschel Walker, a football legend and an entrepreneur. How is he thinking about his endorsements?
Listen, I think we're looking outside of the swamp. You saw how successful my father was with his policies, with his presidency, for all the things that he did for the American people. And I think we have to get away from the swamp creatures of D.C., where there's never been accountability, whether they win or they lose. They just keep churning. They become consultants. They sit on the boards of the big war companies sending missiles abroad. These have never been good policies for America. We're trying to find people that will put America first. And you can see that. I spent a lot of time with J.D. Vance, another outsider, willing to take on the establishment of both sides. That's what the American people want. They're sick of the D.C. Beltway sort of all working together. They may be on different sides, but they're pretending they're for the American people while really only being for their own wallets. We're picking outsiders because that will work. We want people that aren't bound to that establishment. And I think those policies that come with it are going to be great for America and for Americans who are suffering right now.
What do you think about the fact that President Trump has backed Dr. Mehmet Oz, but you've got former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo backing his opponent, David McCormick, actually Senator Ted Cruz, who just had on, also going to be rallying for David McCormick. Would this be a big blow if President Trump doesn't get his win come the Pennsylvania primary coming up on May 17th?
No, listen, I don't think you're going to have a perfect score throughout an entire primary with hundreds and hundreds of people that are running. I mean, I think you definitely see sort of that backing. Some of it's swamp games, right? People back the consultants and the this, that, and the other that they're working with. I mean, there's a lot of sort of D.C. insider stuff that I've seen in this process, that's if the American people knew about, they'd get more in tune with politics and start watching a lot more closely.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's clear that voters are getting smarter about everything. Don, look at this advantage in 2022 congressional midterm graphics that I'm going to put up here. Republicans with 47%. They say Democrats have 44%. Do you think anything has changed as a result of this most recent Supreme Court draft opinion leaking? Has anything changed in terms of the advantage that the GOP holds in 2022 as the Biden administration comes out with this disinformation board to try to get ahead of free speech, frankly?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more of a panic tactic, right? They have nothing else. They can't run on economy. They can't run on jobs. They can't run on energy. We're on the brink of war with Russia. China's flying sorties over Taiwan. This administration, and it's not Joe Biden, Maria, let's be clear, this is Democrat policy. Okay. Everything that you're seeing today, this is what the Democrats told you they would do, and they are doing it. They have destroyed our economy, our country, our freedom, speech, and you can see that with the reaction. That's why they're coming up with a disinformation board. Truth Social, my father's social media app, launches. People are on there. The engagement that people like myself are seeing on that with a fraction of the followers that we had on some of the other social media platforms is through the roof because people want to have this discourse, but they've been censored. You see the outrage over Elon Musk getting involved in Twitter. Oh my God, imagine they could perhaps turn down someone's volume, like they haven't been doing that to conservatives for a decade now. These people are living in a bubble. They're not looking for a level playing field, Maria. They're looking for an advantage. They were always thrilled when they have that advantage, as though they don't have enough advantages already, all right? They control the mainstream media, $1 trillion enterprise. They have basically all of big tech, another $1 trillion enterprise. They had all of social media, again, until you came up with Truth Social, and then Elon Musk said, hey, how about some free speech on Twitter as well? Oh my God. The outrage and the panic, and you see it, and that's why you see the leak about the Supreme Court. They need something, and they have nothing to motivate their people. The American people are awake to it. They're starting to see what's real. They saw what happened to the algorithms the second the Musk thing was announced. They saw the engagement that they're getting on social, and they realized that they've been in a rigged game for very long. They see it, and you can no longer hide it, Maria. Despite the Disinformation Board, I don't know of a despotic regime that didn't have a disinformation board, but that's what the Democrats are. You saw that over the last few years. They want total control. Doesn't matter about the truth. They will dictate what that is. When it turns out the conspiracy theories end up being 100% true, there's no accountability. There's no mea culpas. There's nothing. They just move on to the next lie. It's why I created MXM News with some friends, just to make sure that the stories that matter people can see. So, download it for yourselves on iPhone or Android. It's 100% free. But the news, like the Hunter Biden story, that was Russian disinformation until it wasn't. Once they got what they wanted, the truth no longer mattered, so now they can say it's true. They see the disaster that Biden's administration is, so now they're saying, hey, we'll throw him under the bus. Let's let this be true now. So check out MXM News, because those stories existed. But the powers that be made sure that people never actually saw them. And so we have to make sure that people have access to this kind of information. And so whether it's Truth Social, whether it's MXM News, we are pushing back, and people are finally awake, Maria. I think the pendulum overcorrected so far that people are awake.
You've been doing a lot. Here's Josh Hawley's tweet on the Disinformation Board. Fire the Mary Poppins of disinformation and dissolve this censorship board. You've got Truth Social. I agree. I'm on Truth Social and have had great engagement, much more so than I've ever seen on Twitter or anywhere else. You've been doing a lot. There was a recent poll that said that you, Donald Trump Jr., are the second most popular person in the GOP behind your father, 45. Are you thinking about running for public office?
I haven't. I just believe in this stuff, Maria. And if I have a big voice and a big soapbox that I can utilize to get this out there to push back against the nonsense. Again, I've been on the receiving end of this stuff for 5 years. Just, imagine it was the Don Jr. laptop from hell. Imagine the password we saw was Don Jr.'s password that we saw yesterday. I mean, these things, I wouldn't be treated the same way. So, while I'm a business guy, I believe in this stuff. I want to leave my kids a country that they could even recognize. And we got to push back. But what's awesome is that guys like myself, we're seeing the pendulum correct. We're seeing people wake up to it, and that's what I'm in this for. I think if I'm popular, it's only because people actually are like, that guy's actually going to fight for me. He's going to stand up. He's not going to get beaten down by the establishment. He's not going to get put in his place. He's going to say what needs to be said and do what needs to be done to make sure that America remains a bastion of freedom and liberty in the world. It's the greatest country in the world, but if we let the Democrats have their way, it won't be. And you can see that. You don't have to believe me. Just watch what they've done in a few short months.
Yeah, and as part of that, will 45 run again for 2024?
Listen, I hope so. We'll see. I think he's realistic about it. If he wakes up one morning and feels like Joe Biden looks on a daily basis, he'll probably say now's not the time. But I do truly believe he's the one guy that still has that fight. I mean, when you're that guy all by yourself out there taking all the slings and arrows, it's not that easy. But again, now I think people have woken up. They're watching, mothers be called domestic terrorists by the DOJ and FBI for simply not wanting to teach indoctrination in their schools. They're getting it. So I think if Donald Trump goes out there with millions and millions of Americans behind him, unafraid, willing to speak up and stand up, I think that's an unstoppable combination, and I think it would be awesome for 2024.
All right, Donald Trump Jr., great to see you. Thanks very much for being here this morning, Don. We will see you soon.